what happens when we try to create two stores with the exact same name. I'm going to create a store called unique. Okay, successfully saved. Let's double check that. It is in database. Now I'm going to create yet another store with the exact same name, unique. Add a store, and we get a whole bunch of errors. All right, and the error message is duplicate key violates unique constraint store name. This error comes from our database. When we created our database, we specified that store should have a field named name. And on top of that, this field should be unique. This error message isn't exactly very friendly to our users. What we should do instead is to redirect them back to the form and show them all the errors that exist. So how might we do that? First, we'll look at create store. Create store tries to save, and if it saves successfully, it would redirect back to store. Otherwise, it would render the form once again. Now this time around, we're gonna pass it something new. We're gonna pass it an errors list. Okay, and this will come from S. S stands for the store. Okay, so if it fails to save, it would render template along with a list of errors. So how do we generate a list of errors? This is where we need to write our own validation code. To do that, I'm going to do it within models itself. I'm going to first create a validate method for store. Okay, what validate does is it would query the database for any existing store record with this particular name. If it finds any, it would then append an error message called store name not unique to self.errors. So where does self.errors come from? We could very well define self.errors like this. But we're going to have to do this for pretty much every model. So let's not do that. Instead, we'll look at base model. We'll look at the save method that we wrote. We're going to override that. So I'm going to comment this out, and this is the new code. So from server.py, when we call s.save, we're calling this method. Okay, this method would initialize errors to be an empty list, and then it would call the validate method that we have created here. Okay. Next, we're going to modify this such that we're going to check after running validate. If errors list is still 0, then continue to try to save the database. Otherwise, return 0. Now, let's say the store name is not unique, right? So there are duplicate stores. We are appending store name not unique to this empty list that we created, right? And therefore, the length of self.errors is 1 and not 0. And hence, this code would not be executed, but this code would. So return 0, right? If 0, it's a falsy, and therefore, we would render the template along with the error messages. Now let's take a look at it in action. So once again, I'll go back to stores.new, and we'll try to create the exact same store that exists already, unique. Okay? Click add a store, and this time around, instead of showing us that ugly error page, we're seeing the same exact form with an error message, store name not unique.